One of the great political mysteries of our time was today solved. Who was Deep Throat? Who was the man who supplied information to Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein of the Washington Post that helped bring down the Nixon White House? W. Mark Felt was in the early 1970s the #2 man in the FBI, and Felt now says he was Deep Throat. The Woodward and Bernstein stories exposed a Nixon White House connection to the 1972 break-in at Democratic Party headquarters in the Watergate building, the subsequent attempts to cover up that break-in, and the Nixon White House attempts to subvert the FBI investigation into the matter. Woodward and Bernstein dubbed their source Deep Throat and said they would not name that source until he was dead. But with Felt coming forward, Bob Woodward acknowledged this afternoon that Felt was indeed their source. ABC's chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, is here. Brian?
And Charlie, what a source the Washington Post had for its reporting on the Watergate scandal. Former editor Ben Bradley said today that's what gave him the confidence to go with the story. Mark Felt was the senior FBI official in charge of the case. He would have known everything. Now at the age of 91, Felt is long retired and living in California. He came outside today to have his picture taken by reporters, but his grandson spoke for him, saying the family had urged Felt to come forward.
As he recently told my mother, I guess people used to think Deep Throat was a criminal, but now they think he's a hero.
According to the article in Vanity Fair, Felt only began admitting his secret role to his family and his lawyer, John O'Connor, in the last 3 years.
At the beginning of this time period, I think Mark felt that he was somehow a dishonorable guy, an FBI agent who was disloyal, who leaked when he shouldn't have leaked. He kept saying an FBI agent doesn't do this. But after talking to him for 3 years, probably for the last 6 or 9 months, he's really convinced he's a hero. He knows he did the right thing. He knows that he had to breach his code of ethics to save the country.
That's why he is now prepared to admit he was Deep Throat.
Oh, that's right, yeah. He's very much, and he very much embraces it.
As portrayed in the movie, All the President's Men, Washington Post reporter Bob Woodward met his confidential source, dubbed Deep Throat, in a series of meetings in a Washington, D.C. parking garage.
Just follow the money.
Felt was the #2 man in the FBI at the time of Watergate, and, according to his lawyer, became frustrated as the Nixon White House tried to block the FBI from fully investigating the political scandal.
When Mark saw what was happening, he had to do this. Remember, this was the FBI's investigation that was being obstructed. It was his baby, and he was in charge of it, and he wasn't going to let it happen.
O'Connor says it was in 1972, after the attempted assassination of Alabama Governor George Wallace, that Felt first became a secret source for Woodward.
He's a good friend. He likes Bob. He remembers Bob.
But in his 1979 autobiography and later interviews, Felt strongly denied being Deep Throat or having a relationship with Woodward.
He always turned square corners as an FBI agent, and now here he is violating the very standards that he imposes on everybody under him.
Over the years, Felt has often been speculated as a prime candidate for Deep Throat. Even during Watergate at the White House, aides told President Nixon they had found he was the man behind the leaks to the Washington Post. Nixon never took any action against Felt, and 6 years after being forced to resign as president, Nixon sent a copy of his book inscribed to Felt with appreciation for his years of service, signed Richard M. Nixon.
Brian Ross, thanks.